All right, so we got the upside from the target we were looking for on Thursday. Let's go ahead and go over the details now, as there is something very interesting brewing within the volatility components. All right, you guys, what is up? Thank you so much for stopping by once again. This is ARCa coming at you with a COSM technicals, raw price action, and statistical threat of analysis on this happy Monday. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community and Discord called ARCa Bulls. With that said, let's dive right into the charts. Okay, so yes, we are looking at COSM on the daily chart here, and as you can see, we have printed a massive green candle today. Okay, you guys, up the volume is twice what it was on the previous day of trading, right? So this is very good. In fact, the volume actually came up to about 650,000 today versus the 300,000s that we were looking at prior to that, right? So yes, you guys, now let's go ahead and see just something very curious here, okay? Because there are a couple of signals suggesting an upside. Okay, you guys, so first of all, go ahead and notice here that we have officially printed a bullish engulfing daily iteration here. So what usually what that means is that the green candle engulfing the smaller red candle prior to it usually signals a potential upside continuation. So this is already one signal giving us an upside. Another thing is that in fact we were talking about this very famous support line that we have used for massive upside thrusts, right? So this particular iteration here for that huge upside thrust, of course this one here, right? We had this one right over here for a huge upside thrust, the one that we recently faced, right? Which was about almost a 40% move to the upside. And now, so it's actually working pretty well again. Okay, definitely a very good area of demand. All right, you guys, so let's go ahead and move on to the next chart because I do have some very interesting things to talk to you about. Okay, so now in respects to the 5-day volatility versus momentum backtest, this was actually a backtest that was performed from critical expansion, right? So critical expansion of volatility, anytime that we have entered that 90 percentile and started a contraction phase from that critical volatility zone, paired with stochastic momentum with an upside pivot, we have noticed actually now I'm sorry, blah, can't even talk right now. So these are actually 6 out of 6 iterations of which have been guessed correctly to the upside, giving us a 100% upside accuracy. Now, I did explain this in the last video that I actually put up, right? So we did get another 2 iterations, one of which was 1,059% to the upside, and the other of which was 104.60% to the upside. And that has not been included into the total percentage right over here, right? So this would essentially modify this target to be a higher target now. So it would potentially go up to about 200% or more. All right. So as of this test here, right? So as of this test, the probabilities are still sitting within 100%. In fact, even more now that we have 2 other iterations. And in fact, it looks like it's starting yet again. Okay. So what does that mean? First of all, we have the upside pivot from the shorter term time frame, the EMA 3, and now we're starting to curve that 14-day simple moving average. It looks like we're about to get that upside. Please notice right up here the volatility component crossing above the moving average, suggesting a build of volatility yet again. All right, and one of the more important factors that could validate the volatility play is actually the DMI. Okay, please notice that the bulls are still in control. In fact, we are starting to get, wow, what's going on here? In fact, we're starting to get the bulls to actually shift just a little bit. So you can see that there's a little notch right over here that's actually starting to kind of not favor the downside as much. And it looks like we are in a trending market via the ADX. Anytime that we are above the 25 percentile of the ADX indicator, that usually means that whoever's on top that's just the favor and a trending market towards that side. So in this case, of course, the bulls are on top with trending market. The bulls are in fact starting to want to take over. Okay, so let's go ahead and now look at this. This is another volatility versus momentum backtest that's now being, it's actually officially fired. Right? But we need one more little thing. But this little thing looks like it's about to be corrected by tomorrow. Okay, you guys. So first of all, we now have the bulls on the DMI in control on the 8-hour volatility versus momentum backtest. Okay, so yes, we still are down here at about 14% trend. So it looks like it's actually favoring the bears to lose trend here. Okay, so now that as the bulls are starting to come up, very likely the ADX is going to start making a correctional pivot towards the upside, thus giving the bulls that trend, just like the upper time frames are doing thus far. Okay, you guys, so what's very exciting here is this fact. Okay, let me just get rid of this trend line here. There we go. So now, as you can see right down here, the stochastic momentum oscillator has both the 3-day exponential moving average and the 14-day simple moving average pivoted towards the upside, which is absolutely a condition to meet for this back test to actually realize. Okay, another thing that we do need is, in fact, both of the volatility component and the moving average upside of the 15th percentile with an upside pivot. Okay, so you can see here that the volatility component is faced to the downside. It would be great if the moving average then starts pitching the the volatility component to the upside. Then that would officially, I'm talking about, this is 97% fired. Okay, the signal. The signal for this backtest. Okay, so anytime that we have contracted into critical volatility, which is within the 15th percentile, and started an expansion phase to the upside, paired with stochastic momentum upside pivot, I have taken a back test actually, throughout the entire trading history of the COSM asset on the 8-hour chart, and these are all the samples, right? So now this is the mean, this is the data that came back. So out of 9 total iterations, 6 have been guessed correctly to the upside, giving us a 66.66% upside accuracy with an averaged upside thrust of a massive 206.895% over the span of about 6.16 days. Okay, so this is proof of work right down here. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is you can see we were talking about this just on Thursday, that there is essentially the signal, the firing of a signal right now. And in fact, we're getting a very nice price action from that. Okay, you guys. So now I do have to say that I'm still favoring the bulls in this situation. Okay, so if we were to apply that 206% move to the upside, I can be very conservative here and actually just kind of favor this, the opening of this candle here, pretty much when we got that upside thrust on the stochastic momentum. And that 206% target would lead to about $9.36. Okay, so this is, I know I'm getting a lot of questions regarding that. Do you still see whatever happened to $9 for COSM? Well, it's still there, right? It's just, remember that it's also a statistical metric. It is not a certainty. So this is on average, based on the conditions, based on the criteria that we're currently sitting in. On average, we can make a move of 206% to the upside. Okay, that does not mean that we're going to make the move all the way up to the 206%. Oftentimes, we go under it or we go entirely above it, but it's just an average. Okay, so this is the statistical mean. All right, you guys. So yes, and so far, it looks like the price action has already made a pretty significant move via that concept. Okay, so the move that you're looking at thus far is we've already touched 9.41% to the upside. So that's already looking pretty good. Okay, you guys. So we definitely have to practice some patience here. So now the next thing, please remember that we were talking on the 8-hour reversion variant that is very likely for us to touch down at that area of about $3.42. Okay, so that would essentially be the mean, and we're mean reverting right now. Okay, so in fact, the signals have already fired in the 5-day and also on the 8-hour. The 8-hour reversion mean is $3.42 within the box that we were looking at. So we came very close to that resistance today, right? But the candle rejection today was in fact in respects to the high of this candle here. So this candle here has a $3.35 high. This one here has a $3.35 high. You can actually see the H right over here. Okay, so you see the 335. We hover over this candle right over here and 335. That is likely the resistance that we faced today, okay, or why we faced it, right? So now let's move on to the last part of the analysis, and this is very exciting to talk about too. Okay, so yes, we do have a little bit of a retracement here happening in the 30-minute time frame. In fact, let me see the 15 and the 5. Okay, so very, very short-term time frame retracement, meaning that the upside is a lot more likely starting right away for COSM. And what gives me that information is, in fact, the 4-hour time frame. Please notice that the 4-hour is now making a very bullish cross above that 14-day simple moving average with a pretty significant upside pivot. Same situation here in an even larger time frame. We're crossing above that 14-day simple on the 8-hour RSI. Okay, so this is very impressive. Definitely a very significant upside pivot here. Very respectable. And also, please notice right over here that this is the daily candle. Daily RSI, sorry, and just go ahead and zoom in with me here. And please notice that we are now officially making a cross above the 14-day simple moving average. But notice this, we are getting a cross above it with an upside pivot. I have expressed several times how important that is and how much more bullish it is for the asset when we do that. Okay, so it is happening now on the daily, which is essentially going to start pressuring the upper time frames as well. By daily iteration, upside pivot. Looks like we do have a little bit of resistance coming up on that 14 simple, but please notice the pivot of the 14 simple. Upside pivot with an upside RSI as well. Okay, very important things to notice here. Okay, now here on the 5-day time frame, please notice what's happening. We didn't get this before, but we are in fact making a bullish cross above that 14-day simple moving average, you guys. All of this is signaling a very powerful upside for COSM. Okay, you guys, just to put it out there clean, I'm not spreading any FUD. We have talked about this very critical support here before a massive upside thrust. We're getting a daily bullish engulfing. We're getting the statistical backtest 5-day and the 8-hour with confluent signals with an upside thrust incoming. We're getting the mean reversion to 342. All of the RSI signals suggesting massive upside, guys. COSM is prepping for something interesting, and it is just my opinion. Please remember that the ArcMastersCourse is still being offered to a few seats left. Okay, so go ahead and notice in the description below, and you'll find my email there. Get enrolled, and we'll get you started up with maybe in the second or third. Actually, the third week of April is coming up. Okay, you guys, so that's when we're going to be starting, all right? So definitely reach out to me. And first and foremost, remember that I am not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy or sell any assets whatsoever, okay, you guys? I need you to do your own due diligence, and everything will be just fine. All right, so yeah, but with that said, I wish you well, a very good night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios.